Ladies and gentlemen, let's get cracking on the latest in Chelsea news. Lots going on. There's news where Maurizio Pochettino is demanding consistency, demanding that we better be a lot more disciplined. So we're going to talk about that. There's conversations in regards to Marc Guehi. We're looking for another centre back. Why? We are going to explore that. And last but not least, Pat Nevin, who has been sacked. We saw the news earlier on, and we'll definitely touch up on that before we wrap things up. Let's go. And before we do that, ladies and gentlemen, take a moment right now, take the moment, smash the like button, help the channel out. If you enjoy the channel, enjoy the discussion, enjoy everything that happens within this particular channel, then smash the like button right now. And if you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe. Let's go. Pochettino, this is what he had to say earlier today. We have a lot of talent, but we need to show that every week. It's not enough to show it one week and then not the next. We need to be more consistent. We've been talking about this as a fan base as well. When you have a good result, you're not the best team, and when you lose, you're not the worst. So we need to stay together in the bad moments and train hard, because we have a very important game next week. I mean, this is perfectly said. Absolutely perfectly said. And I think this is something Marc Cucurella said as well earlier today. Same sort of information that's been provided, same sort of commentary that's been provided by Marc Cucurella. It's true. It's true. We can't have this yo-yo type of, consistency. The only thing that is consistent is the inconsistency. So we have to work on this. As a group, we need to figure out how can we. Just before we got absolutely smashed up by Newcastle, we won against Spurs. Yeah, maybe not the best, greatest performance, but we still won against Spurs with a very good performance against Manchester City. I think prior to the Spurs game, we won against Blackburn as well. So, you thought that maybe the trajectory was upwards. We've just, left everything in the past. All the mishaps, we've finally learned from it, and now we're progressing. But no, bang, here comes the big defeat against Newcastle. So now what we got to do moving forward is we got to build that momentum again. We can't let this Newcastle situation be prolonged. And this is what I said last time when we were creating a momentum. At Chelsea Football Club, you have to, whether it's a project, whether it's not a project, you've got to have more wins. You've got to have a prolonged period of wins, and then you can have the odd blip here and there. You cannot have prolonged period of odd blips. That's simply not going to be acceptable at Chelsea Football Club. So it's important what Pochettino is saying here is there has to be a lot more consistency. There has to be. Now, how do we create consistency? How do we ensure that players are switched on, focused? This is what it all comes down to: mentality, hunger, desire. How badly do you want to perform in your job? It all comes down to each individual, and then all of that comes down together as a collective together. So once again, I say this is on Pochettino. He has to somehow, as we said earlier on in All You Can Eat Chelsea, if you guys haven't seen the particular episode, fantastic episode, longest episode really, check that out, where we spoke about how Pochettino needs to be a father figure amongst all of these kids that we have. He needs to be the father. He needs to guide them and grab them and show them the way, and get them to believe, buy into his philosophy, buy into his ideology. I just feel like it's all a little bit too loose at the moment. We need to tighten things up. We have to tighten things up. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, more in regards to this particular news. Pochettino, we have certain levels that are required of us, and it's important we get back to those as soon as possible. And sometimes you need a situation like this to make you realize what it takes. We are a young, talented squad, but regardless, you have to compete every time you step into the pitch. Those are the fundamentals, and we have to learn from this. Look, once again, whatever Pochettino is saying here is not wrong, but sometimes you need this situation. We've had too many of these situations. This is the problem. It's not like we are learning from it. We can't sit here and act as if that Newcastle match that we had was a one-off this season. No, we've had plenty of matches like that. Plenty. West Ham, Nottingham Forest, Brentford, Newcastle. We didn't win against Bournemouth. We didn't win against Aston Villa. Okay, albeit those are the two matches probably we should have won, but we didn't win. Draw against Bournemouth, lose against Aston Villa. the way we kind of gave up against Arsenal after being 2-0 up. So this performance against Newcastle, this isn't the first one. This is why it's difficult to take. This is why when Pochettino talks in this manner that, it's important for us to get back to those as soon as possible, and sometimes you need a situation like this to make you realize, well, you've had plenty of time to realize this situation. We can't. What are we going to say next time we have another bad performance? Oh, we needed that to realize. When are you going to realize? It seems like you're not realizing. That's what it seems like. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, Chelsea owners are patient and will give any manager as much time as possible, as shown with former boss Graham Potter, who lasted far longer than expected. The American ownership believe in their plan and think they have the best manager to develop the young talent that fills their ranks. That seems to be the prime objective. The prime objective doesn't seem to be win silverware. It's all about develop the young talents. The Chelsea manager will be given time and is preparing for the January transfer window, with a striker being the main priority for the club. So look, of course, I think it will be immature. I think it will be premature to expect Pochettino to be sacked right now. I think that wouldn't be fair on him. However, continuing this vein, you will be left with no options but to think harshly and possibly to sack him. If by the time halfway line, 19 games, we're on 13, 6 more games to go. If by the time 19 games in the Premier League and we are still in the bottom half, like in the second half, in the lower half of the Premier League table, below 10th, I think we need to be very concerned as to what we're doing. And I know it's very harsh to just say, okay, sack Pochettino, because the board is culpable, which is the sporting directors, and the owners are culpable as well. It's a collective stuff up that's happening at the moment. The owners they've got a particular vision, as you can see, developing young talent. This is why we are consistently linked with every other 18-year-old every single week. So they seem to have a clear plan and direction that they want to keep buying these talented young players all across the world and bring them to Chelsea and hopefully see them develop into 80, 90 million players. It's not going to happen. That's not how you operate a football club. Definitely not how you operate Chelsea Football Club, who are one of the elite clubs in European level and who should be thriving for winning silverware. The primary objective cannot be develop young talents. That's not the main objective. Yeah, definitely, you have a well-balanced team and you develop the 2-3 maximum young talents to be superstars. You cannot have almost the entirety of the squad full of young players and then expect them all to develop so that you can flip them for some money. So the owners, they need to reassess exactly what their ambitions are and what their goal is. They then need to translate that to the board. The board then must have the right to speak out if they think that, owners, this is probably not the right plan. Let us give you an alternative. They talk about collaboration, but I don't know if there is any collaboration. It's more like a dictatorship where the owners say something and it needs to be in that manner, in that vein. They've put a lot of yes people in the job, and whoever says no to them gets sacked, like Christopher Vivell and Pat Nevin, which we will touch on. Anyone that speaks against them will get sacked. They will learn very, very soon in the harshest manner. They'll learn the hard way. The way they're operating, if we finish another season in the second half of the Premier League table, that's not going to look good on the owners. So you can sack the manager, but it's only going to look bad on you. It's only going to look bad on you. So you have to be able to work with the manager, give the manager what he requires, and then after that, if they still falter, of course, make the transition. But I think, especially when Stamford Bridge, the fans at our home ground at Stamford Bridge, when we keep dropping more points, watch how they turn. And once the fans turn, there is absolutely no return. The owners will have to give in. The owners will definitely have to give in. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, check this out. Ben Jacobs, in regards to a centre-back. I don't understand why we're linked with a centre-back. I don't get it. Keep in mind, Mauricio Pochettino would ideally like a bit of proven Premier League quality That's why I would keep an eye on Chelsea entering the race for the player like Marc Guehi, who they sold to Crystal Palace in 2021. Why? Why, ladies and gentlemen? Marc Guehi, do we not have enough centre-backs? First up, we need to, as once again, I want to refer back to All You Can Eat Chelsea. Eunice was right. We need to stick to 2 CBs for the rest of the season. Pick your 2, Pochettino. Pick your 2. Stop chopping and changing. Stop having Silva with Buddy Shield, Levi Colwell with X. Don't mix and match. Choose your 2 best CBs that you're going to trust and stick with for the entirety of the rest of the season. All of this chopping and changing, this is not good. This one place you definitely need consistency is in the back line. Look at the amount of goals we are conceding every single week now. Every single week we are conceding so many goals. They can't build chemistry. They can't build that relationship. We have so many CBs. In the match against Brighton, we're probably going to field 4 CBs at the back because we don't have fullbacks. All of them are suspended or injured. I don't know what's going on with Malagusto. Maybe Malagusto's back. We don't need any more CBs, man. Even if Thiago Silva goes, we have enough. We just need 2, right? Right now, we've got Wesley Fofana, who's probably going to be back in a couple of months' time. So you got Wesley Fofana, you got Buddy Shield, you got Levi Colwell, you got Desasi, and Thiago Silva's still with us. Don't need another CB. Don't forget, Chalobah is still with us. Okay, he's going to go. Thiago Silva's going to go as well. Even then, you have 4 CBs. Wesley Fofana, Buddy Shield, Desasi, and Levi Colwell. Now, I don't know whether these recent rumors about Buddy Shield potentially leaving, if that's true or not. I don't know. You don't need another CB. If another one comes in, then obviously one has to go in the likes of Fofana, Buddy Shield, Levi Colwell, or Desasi, because for me, it's just excessive. It doesn't make sense, man, this whole Marc Guehi situation. I feel like Chelsea will do this. They'll do something stupid. Next up, Chelsea do have good young centre-backs they can work with in Buddy Shield, Colwell, and Desasi. It is almost like by having Silva in the team, you're depriving yourself of the chance for players to grow together. Yes, you will have to live with most mistakes, but Chelsea are having to live with mistakes right now. So look, once again, I reiterate, Pochettino has to make a decision. If a majority of the fan base and many say that Silva is now past his best, this, that, the other, no problems. But Pochettino has to make that decision. He needs to make that harsh decision and bench Silva and play with the 2 CBs. Play with his 2 that he trusts. Because right now it feels like he doesn't even know who he trusts. He's just testing the waters. It's only going to keep hurting us. There were moments against Newcastle where Chelsea were pushed deep. It feels like Thiago Silva's instinct, much like John Terry's, was near the end of this Chelsea career. It is to drop when things get difficult. That is where Newcastle's first goal came from. Look, everyone wants to seems like blame Thiago Silva for the absolute comic of a match that we had against Newcastle. Definitely Thiago Silva was bad, but there were so many other players that were bad. That's why I don't want to focus on individual, because it seems like collectively there's a huge issue in the squad. Huge issue. I've seen Thiago Silva this season play well as well. Yeah, he's not done well in few matches, no doubts about that. I've seen him do well too. Which defender has been consistent? There's been none. There's been absolutely none. But if we need to discard of Thiago Silva, then let's do it. Let's do it and let's move on with it immediately. Next up, check this out. Chelsea at the top of the yellow card table in the Premier League. The Blues have 44 cautions to their name this season. The ill discipline at Chelsea is something Pochettino needs to address. Too many players are picking up cheap bookings. See James's first year at Newcastle for kicking the ball away. And the exact same thing happened with Sterling as he was booked. Well, yeah, of course, that's something Pochettino has to address. Pochettino himself is not disciplined. He's picked up so many yellow cards that he was suspended in that match against Newcastle. So who's going to address that? Who's going to talk to Pochettino? So this is why I've said in recent times, who's looking up to who? There doesn't seem to be an example in this football club at the moment that, yeah, that's my role model. I'm going to look up to them. Pochettino himself is ill-disciplined. So we have to go deeper than just players being ill-disciplined. The manager is also not completely disciplined here. So, the manager they all need to sit down and have a really good heart-to-heart and figure out exactly how they need to. All of these yellow cards, all of these red cards is just not it. Firstly, it creates a lot of pressure. Opposition keeps getting all of these free kicks, and then players keep getting suspended for us. So something's got to be looked at. Last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, Chelsea's cult hero Pat Nevin has been dropped from the club's media duties with no further explanation. Further goes on to say, under the latest Clearlake Boehly ownership, Nevin faced internal questions over some of the options he made, but was never asked to take anything out. Nevin questioned the transfer strategy of the owners last month, in which he wrote for all the possession stats, chances created, and positive XG 18 months on, and it is the same old story for the all-new Clearlake Chelsea. Around 1 billion spent, and they still can't find a fit regular goal scorer. I remember this article. That's why when we all saw this particular news of him getting sacked, I said, I think he's getting sacked because of what he said. And what he said was true. But the issue is, when you work for the employers of Boehly and Clearlake, who pay your salary, you just can't talk against them. This is why I guess sometimes when we see people like, for example, Olivia Bazaglo on Twitter, and we say that, why is she being so unnecessarily positive? Because they can't talk against Chelsea. Chelsea pay their wages. They can't do that. And it's understandable. But it's sad. It's sad that this particular person, Pat Nevin, has a fantastic personality. I've seen him on Matisse's channel a while back. I've seen him on a few other channels as well. He's a lovely person, well-spoken, understands the game very well. Obviously, ex-Chelsea player, and then was part of the media team at Chelsea. Does write a few articles here and there. It's sad to see that he's been sacked. And apparently he got sacked via a message, a text message. So sad to see, but it is what it is, I guess. At the end of the day, the moral of the story is that you just can't talk against the owner, especially when they pay your wages. So, but it's sad to see that someone like Pat Nevin has been sacked for pretty much saying the truth. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, hope you guys have enjoyed this. Smash the like button if you're here for the first time. Subscribe, hit the bell notification to stay in touch with all my content. Make sure you guys comment about everything we spoke about. Love to hear what you guys have to say about all the news that's been floating around. I shall see you guys for a live stream tomorrow. Until then, take care. See ya.